These are the new Sonos Ace headphones, a high-end noise-canceling over-the-ear headphones from Sonos, their first ever, and coming in at $450, they're competing with other top-end over-the-ear headphones. Now, I'm an ideal Sonos customer, and these should be for me. I have a Sonos Arc and Sub Gen 3, the Sonos Beam, Era 300s. I have a ton of Sonos speakers all over the house. And there's some special features like audio swap, where if you're watching a movie on your Sonos Arc, you can send that audio to the headphones. I've had some issues, we'll get to that in a second. Now these headphones do sound good, they're much lighter than AirPods Max, they're pretty comfortable to wear, but when it comes to using these in an Apple ecosystem, they're a little cumbersome. And I'm going to compare the sound quality to AirPods Max because I find some areas are a little lacking. First, let's talk about hardware design. The Sonos Ace headphones come with this all recycled material case. You can get them in two colors, either in black or what Sonos is calling soft white. I went with the soft white option. I do think they look really good. And the right ear cup actually has a nice teal inlay, nice design touch, has a very soft headband, comfortable to wear even for long periods of time, and these are much lighter than, say, the AirPods Max, which just has a lot of aluminum and stainless steel that make it heavy, especially the headband part. The Sonos Ace had these magnetic ear cups like the AirPods Max as well. They come off pretty easily. This way, if you ever need to replace them, you can do that. And they do have the adjustable stainless steel rods here, and they feel pretty premium. Unfortunately, in order to put these in the case, you have to have the steel rods all the way in as far as they'll go. So you have to adjust it for your head every time you take them out of the case. There are several buttons. Sonos calls this the content key button, which can raise and lower volume, skip tracks, play pause, and if you tap and hold it, supposedly switches the audio from your Sonos Arc to the headphones. Noise cancellation or awareness mode toggle is this button, and you can turn the headphones on, off, or put it into Bluetooth pairing mode using this button. It has a USB-C connector, and these little metal strips here are just for looks, but does look cool. In the box with the Sonos Ace, you also get two cables. They're not braided cables, they're just regular cables, but you get a USB-C and a USB-C to headphone jack. You have to buy this adapter and cable separately when you get the AirPods Max, so appreciate Sonos including it. And just to show them side by side, these are the AirPods Max, over 3 years old now, but I do find the Ace much more comfortable to wear for longer periods. Now, even though you get that USB-C to headphone jack cable, the Sonos Ace headphones cannot be used in a passive mode. Meaning if you connect this to, say, an audio interface or something to listen to wired, it has to be on and it has to be charged. If the battery dies on this, you won't hear anything. The Ace supposedly have a 40mm driver inside, which is actually the same size as Apple's. These are Apple engineered drivers, Sonos makes theirs. The Ace also has 8 microphones for noise control and voice targeting. The AirPods Max actually has 9 total microphones, but we'll get to noise canceling in a minute. One other note about the hardware is these are actually vegan leather ear cups. And with this vegan leather, if you're in a place where it gets warm, I'm down here in Florida and it gets very hot, these do make my ears a little more sweaty than the AirPods Max. I feel like this mesh material on the AirPods Max ear cups help it not get as hot or uncomfortable, but this vegan leather is just not great for hot weather and sweating. Once you set up the AirPods Ace headphones, you can manage it in the Sonos app. You can control the noise canceling here, although you have the button for that on the headphones. You can control the EQ, which we're going to talk about sound quality in a second. It does offer head tracking and spatial audio, at least Dolby Atmos audio and Apple Music. But I find the head tracking even works when listening to podcasts, so if I turn my head, it still sounds like the voices are coming from my iPhone. You have the TV audio swap features, and it does have multicast for Bluetooth, meaning it can connect to 2 devices simultaneously, streaming the audio from both, but you can pair it with many other devices as well. It also has wear detection, so when you take it off, the music pauses, put it back on, and it resumes playing. Now let's talk about audio quality. I'm big on music. I've done a lot of reviews about the HomePod 2, all the different Sonos speakers, and several headphones. And I'm going to compare these a lot to the AirPods Max, which I've had since day one. They are older, they need an upgrade. I don't even know if I would recommend getting these today, but when listening to the Sonos Ace headphones, they sound good. They're very clear, kind of a warm sound, but there's a place I find it lacking, which is the bass response. I spent several hours listening to songs back and forth on the Sonos Ace and the AirPods Max. I'm going to put a link to this playlist in the video description if you want to see some of the ones I've tested with. And again, music sounded good on the Sonos Ace, but when I listen to tracks like Lovely Day from Pamplemousse, you definitely have clarity in the bass and you can hear it, it's very present, but it's lacking some of the immersiveness of a bass. It's hard to describe, like when you're listening to an actual subwoofer speaker out loud. There's a moment where you can actually feel the bass in yourself. And with the AirPods Max, while you don't feel it in your chest, I do feel like the bass is more powerful, not overbearing, but just more present and makes it almost like a more immersive listening experience. I miss some of that bass response in the Sonos Ace. Another example is I listened to this track from the Dune Part 2 movie, and there's a moment when it really builds, right around that 2.5 minute mark. And I listened back and forth both on the Sonos Ace and the AirPods Max, and it just did not feel as immersive on the Sonos Ace. And I really think a lot of that had to do with the bass and low end response on the Ace versus the AirPods Max. Now in the Sonos app, I did try to adjust the EQ to make up for that. I did a lot of my testing with the bass on 3 in the EQ, and I even cranked this up to 7 at one point, and you definitely get more bass, but it didn't feel the same as it does with the AirPods Max. And this could just be a personal preference. I also play the bass, but I vastly preferred that low end response in the AirPods Max. Listening to pop music on the Sonos Ace still sounds good. It was enjoyable to experience all this on the Ace headphones, but when it came to music, I preferred the AirPods Max. And for those asking about lossless and spatial audio, the Sonos Ace offers lossless over Bluetooth, but very specifically to Android devices with a Qualcomm Snapdragon Sound aptX for lossless. I have an iPhone, so that's not me. And lossless audio is not available when you connect it to an iOS device via Bluetooth. The Ace do support lossless over USB-C or the USB-C to 3.5mm connections. But it does support spatial audio over Bluetooth. You can see here on their website, Apple Music, Dolby Atmos music is supported, and of course you have that head tracking as well. Also, shout out to everyone who offered song suggestions for the playlist, and Tyler here suggested the track See Your Gold, and this was really cool to hear both highs and lows, comparing them between the headphones. And this sounded great in the Sonos Ace headphones. But also one of my regular tests, a track I've been listening to for literally years since college, is this version of Mozart's Requiem, specifically the Lacrimosa movement. And again, I went back and forth listening very carefully, and even the timpani, especially towards the end of this track, which gets really powerful, it did not feel as strong in the Sonos Ace as it does in the AirPods Max when I've listened to it there many, many times. So that's music listening, but what about movies? To that, we have to go to the ecosystem part of the review, which is this is supposed to work seamlessly with the Sonos Arc, and just the Arc specifically. Right now, the audio swap, which happens when you have a Sonos Arc and a TV playing a movie, press the content key and it'll switch to the headphones, only works with the Arc and Arc SL soundbars. The Beam Gen 2, one of their newer soundbars, and the Ray, it's coming soon, but support is not available right now. That's unfortunate because I really wanted to use these in my master bedroom where I have a Sonos Beam, but it doesn't work there. So I went to the living room, tried doing the TV audio swap with the Sonos Arc that I have set up there, sub Gen 3 as well, and I could not get it to work, ever, like at all. I tried multiple times. I would unpair the TV swap feature, add it again. I would restart the headphones, restart the TV and soundbar. Never once could I get the audio to swap to the headphones. I even tried to use the swap button in the Sonos app, which I thought would work better, but never once could I get the audio to go from my Sonos Arc to these. Now, this is supposedly a known issue, and Sonos has said there's going to be a bug fix in software, but being one of the standout features, and basically the only thing that works with the Sonos speaker ecosystem that I have, it doesn't work for me. So I was never actually able to listen to a movie in Dolby Atmos surround, because the only way you can experience that is with the TV audio swap. Now, you can pair it via Bluetooth to an Apple TV, and then switch to that in Control Center, which I did, but that Bluetooth pairing doesn't get you surround audio, doesn't get you Dolby Atmos, so it sounds just like a really good stereo mix of the movie. I've heard from several people and reviewers that movie watching on these sounds really good, but again, I tried multiple times and just could never get TV swap to work. And another note, these do not connect to Wi-Fi, and you cannot group them with your other Sonos speakers. So you can see here I have a Sonos bedroom, a living room group, Move 2, one SL's out on the patio, and the Sonos Ace headphones can't be grouped with any of them. They're just standalone, big Bluetooth symbol, Bluetooth headphones. That's it. So if you're in the Apple ecosystem and you have an Apple TV, something where you'd want to switch to the headphones pretty often, maybe even share audio with someone else who wears AirPods, I would say AirPods Pro are a much better option. And I've watched a lot of movies with AirPods Max from the Apple TV, which it's really easy to pair it with the Control Center. Yes, that's kind of Apple's ecosystem advantage, but especially when you're having to quickly swap devices, obviously AirPods are going to do a much better job at it. I will give Sonos credit, having these just connected via Bluetooth to my iPhone. The audio does swap quickly from these to the AirPods Max and back, and it pauses and plays very quickly when you put the headphones on or off. But when it comes to movie watching and that audio swap feature from the Sonos Arc, it just didn't work for me. And one word about noise cancellation and their awareness mode, which is like transparency in AirPods. Both are very good. Noise canceling acts very well. I sat outside, there was a bunch of noise going on, my kids were in the pool. It does a great job canceling out all that noise. And the awareness mode is really good, great clarity of all the audio coming in. The AirPods Max and AirPods Pro, I would say, have a better transparency mode, but the Sonos Aware mode is plenty good. The Sonos Ace also have incredible battery life. They advertise 30-hour battery life, and just in my testing for several hours of music listening, that battery did great. So are the Sonos Ace headphones worth it? This is Sonos' first foray into headphones at $450. Comes in 2 colors. It's got a lot of features, good battery life, good noise cancellation, and a wear mode. But even if you're totally in on the Sonos ecosystem, which I am, with TV audio swap not working and the cumbersome Bluetooth switching with an Apple TV, these aren't great for the movie watching experience. And when it comes to music, again, they sound good. Great clarity, a warm sound. I just personally was missing a little bit of that bass response that I get with AirPods Max. They are much lighter than the AirPods Max and more comfortable to wear for longer periods of time. So maybe if you're traveling or in a plane for many hours, the comfortable headband and lighter weight makes these a nice option for longer wear times. But if you're going to wear them outside a lot, these vegan ear cups do get a little hot, so it just depends on your environment. I'm hoping those software updates and bug fixes come soon. I'll try the TV audio swap again once I can and it actually works. But overall, I'm probably not going to be keeping the Sonos Ace. That's mostly because I already have AirPods Max, but these are a tough recommendation too, because I wouldn't suggest anyone buy these right now. These are $550, $100 more than the Sonos Ace. They still have a lightning connector, the H1 chip, which doesn't offer the newest conversation awareness features that AirPods Pro 2 does. But also, as I'm recording this, the AirPods Max are on sale on Amazon, $50 off. So these come in just $50 more expensive. And like I said, they're over 3 years old. They are heavy, and there's a head pressure that you experience because of the stainless steel band. So if you wear these for long periods of time, you feel that pressure. So I don't know if I could suggest these either. I've tried the Sony XM4s in the past, and those sound really good. They are much lighter. But if you're like me and also all in the Apple ecosystem, the AirPods connectivity, switching between devices easily, and working with Apple TV, for me, make AirPods probably the best choice. To be honest, I really wanted to love the Sonos Ace headphones. Again, I have all the Sonos speakers, the new ones like the Era 300s, and those all sound incredible. I think oftentimes beat out the HomePod 2s, especially if you have a Sub Mini paired with those soundbars. But I just didn't feel enough benefit from the Sonos Ace. So leave me a comment below, tell me what you think, like this video before you go, and subscribe to the channel. Dub is coming up. There's going to be lots of news about iOS 18 and iPhone changes. I'm going to be covering it all right here on the channel. I have some cool iPad stand reviews that actually charge the new iPad Pro in addition to just holding it, so that's coming up soon. And if you want to learn about automations on your Apple devices, some great shortcut videos. I'll put the whole playlist right here, starting with Shortcuts 101 and walking you through advanced automations. And I'll put one of my Sonos videos here. I tried every Sonos speaker and gave you my honest thoughts, how to judge which system to get for what room, and you can check that out right here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.